कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरविषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते। सप्तकांच गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna. I'm very happy to be among you all, and especially I'm very blessed to be able to glorify Srila Prabhupada today, because we are trying to celebrate Srila Prabhu, and after the day of Janmashtami we celebrate Srila Prabhupada appearance day, and that day actually we should be able to glorify, but there is no special day. Every day we should glorify Prabhupada. Only because of Prabhupada's mercy, today we are assembled here. And whatever bhakti we have in our heart, and whatever we are able to glorify Krishna, is all because of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and the life of Prabhupada is so inspiring, and especially the sacrifice which he did to deliver the whole world, especially glorify glories of Krishna for the whole world. So we'll try to discuss some of them today. Srila Prabhupada from childhood, he reveals that he was always Krishna conscious. Once a reporter asked Prabhupada, from which age did you see Krishna? So Prabhupada said, I never thought of Krishna. So Prabhupada, he is a Nitya-Siddha devotee. He is a devotee who is sent by Krishna himself. Once he just revealed, he was telling that Krishna told me that you go to the material world. I said, no, I don't want to go. It is not a good place. We like it so much here. We want to make it better and better. But those who have experienced the spiritual world, for them material world is very bad place. So Prabhupada said, I don't want to go. Krishna said, don't worry, you just go there. You just have to write some books. Prabhupada said, okay. So Prabhupada still, of course, because Krishna is requesting, he cannot say no also. Then Krishna said, don't worry, I will dictate the books to you. You just have to go there and take the credit. So then Prabhupada said, I came here. And this is my main contribution, writing books which will be law books for 10,000 years to come. So whatever Prabhupada has written and whatever has been established is directly the desire of Krishna. So Prabhupada, from the beginning of his life, he said, my father was a pure devotee. He writes in Krishna book, if you read the first page of Krishna, the dedication page is there. This book is dedicated to Gaur Mohan Dey, who is a pure devotee. And Prabhupada, he once just shared, he said, when I was small, I was very naughty, very stubborn. Whatever I wanted, I should get it. So he said, my mother was strict with me, but my father never. Once Prabhupada says that I was going outside a toy shop, and there he saw a gun, red gun. And Prabhupada said, I want that gun. So his father gave him. He said, no, I want two. I want for each hand, one gun. And then, why want two? One is enough. And Prabhupada said, I sat on the ground and started beating my feet and hands. Then father said, okay, you take it. So then Prabhupada silently added, he said, maybe my father knew. So what it means? Means maybe my father knew that I was a pure devotee. That's why he never scolded me. He always gave me whatever I wanted. He would also scold his mother. He would scold my mother, I don't treat him like this. He's not an ordinary child. So Prabhupada was born and his chart was prepared. And when the chart was prepared, the astrologer said, he is a very great personality. Either he will be a very big businessman or he will build 108 temples. So it was already known by astrology that 108 temples will build. So his father was very happy that okay, my child is going to be a great devotee, and he would invite so many sadhus to his home. Prabhupada says that from childhood I have seen so many sadhus and I was not impressed with them. He said, I have seen them, they came and I have seen them in the footpaths changing their dress. So in the morning they would wear saffron clothes and in the night they would change to pant shirt. And then with pant shirt they can do whatever they want. So it was just a profession. Being a sadhu, begging, getting some money and then whatever, drinking and other things. And they have had their own families also. So Prabhupada said, I had lost my faith in sadhus. I thought there are no genuine sadhus. But my father would again, he would keep calling them. And every time he would feed them, and afterwards he would give some kashamai and say, please bless my child, that he becomes a great devotee of Radharani. So this was the constant prayer of Prabhupada's father. Bless him, let him be the good devotee of Radharani. So in this way, Prabhupada said, and every morning my father would wake up early in the morning at 4 o'clock and he would do Aarti, Mangal Aarti. And we were children, so he said every day I would wake up with my father ringing bell of Mangal Aarti. So this is a lesson to all the fathers and mothers here. If you want to give a good sanskar to your children, how you should wake them up? By ringing, not for them, for Krishna. And with that bell, the children should wake up. So this is a sanskar. So Prabhupada remembers it long afterwards. He says, this was my father. Without fail, he would wake up at 4 o'clock and do Mangal Aarti. So all of us nowadays, we wake up very late. Especially the sanskar of the modern age is sleep as much as you want or as much as you can. One person was sharing with me, he was showing his teeth. He said, I have such bad teeth. I said, what happened? Why didn't you take care? I love sleep so much. I wake up half an hour before I have to go to work. And within 2 minutes I brush my teeth. And 5 minutes I have breakfast and I run. So I said, because of that I have spoiled my teeth. So in this way, we all see that nowadays the sanskaras are like that. Sleep late, wake up late, give minimum time for your cleanliness, and then run to work. So Prabhupada says that his father was not like that. Very cultured fellow. Prabhupada says, my father has taught me everything. Even before meeting Guru, I learned everything from my father. And my Guru, he taught me one thing extra. That was book distribution. Prabhupada says, that is my special service towards my Guru Maharaj. Selling books. Otherwise, deity worship, playing mridanga, singing kirtans, about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Leela, everything was taught by my father. So this is a function of father. It is not the responsibility of Guru to teach everything. No, I send my children to GFS. They will become devotees there. That doesn't work. Once a week, few sloka recitation. It doesn't give that much sanskar as much the parents can give at home. At home, if you stay like devotees, then the children can understand, yes, this is an important part of life. So Prabhupada then grew up. And Prabhupada said, I started doing Jagannath Rath Yatras. Because he was very small, 4 or 5 years old. He told his father, I want a Ratha cart, Jagannath cart. And his father somehow contacted the carpenter. He said, make a cart for my child. And this small boy, he started pulling the carts in the streets of Kolkata. And all the neighbors also became very happy. They would come outside their home, do some puja, Jagannath, show some bhoga. In this way, a big festival happened. And Prabhupada said, later on, when I became World Acharya, I started Rath Yatras everywhere, even in New York and other places. So in the young age only Prabhupada started. So in this Prabhupada was growing up, and his name was Abhay Charan Dey. His father's name was Gaur Mohan Dey. And in this way Prabhupada had very beautiful sanskaras, and while he was growing up, he grew very nicely. His father trained him in Mridanga, and then he became a graduate also. At that time, becoming graduate was a big thing. So he became graduate in Scottish Church College. But because being inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's movement, he didn't accept the degree. He gave it. He said anything British will not accept. The degree also is British, so they all boycotted. So although being a graduate, he didn't take that certificate. One of the friend of his father, he told him, I will just send your son to London. There let him become barrister. So then become a barrister was a big thing. Mahatma Gandhi also went, Chacha Nehru also. So they would go become barrister and come back. And we know they would get a kind of respect. So one day he said no. His friend was ready to sponsor, but his father said, I will not send my son to London. He will only become a meat eater and drunkard. So although you can become barrister there, but what will you learn? Smoking, drinking, womanizing. So all these things you will learn. So he said, I don't want my son to get into this. Let him be a good devotee. So this is the aspiration of a pure devotee. So as fathers and parents, more than our aspiration that our children will become big materially, they will become very wealthy, they will become very influential, they will become a big person in society, famous. More than that, we should protect their Krishna consciousness. It is real wealth. What is the wealth of this material world? It is there today and tomorrow it is not there. And with death, surely it will go. So what are we giving to your children? Is this wealth we want to give? Other than that, we should give them bhakti. And do all arrangements so that their bhakti be nourished. And let it remain throughout their life. So his father showed it. He said, no, I will not send him to London. Then Prabhupada went to London later on. Now the reporter asked Prabhupada, why have you come to London? So Prabhupada said, I have not come here to beg from you all. I have come to give. What you all forgot in India, I have come to give that back. What was that? Bhagavad Gita. Britishers took everything, they looted, but they forgot to take Bhagavad Gita. Not forgot, they didn't want to take. Prabhupada went there, give the real wealth. So Prabhupada was about to go to London later on. But initially, in the childhood, he didn't go. So in the Prabhupada, he grew up in such a nice environment, and later on, he became manager in one pharmaceutical company, in his friend's company. So Prabhupada relates about his first meeting with his Gurudev. Who is the Guru Maharaj of Prabhupada? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So that time, it was not a big mutt, it was still a small. So he had a rented place, his Gurudev, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He had rented a place in Kolkata at Ulta Ganga Junction. On the terrace, they would hold meetings. And his guru was a very scholarly person. He was such a great scholar that even Englishmen would find difficult to follow his vocabulary. That was his scholarship. So once Prabhupada's friend, his name was Narendra, he came and told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, come. That time his name was Prabhupada. Abhay, I will take you to a sadhu. Come. Abhay said, I have seen many sadhus. I am not impressed. He said, no, this person is different. He's a real sadhu. Come. So Prabhupada said, no, I am not interested. So actually, this friend of his wanted approval of Prabhupada, approval of Abhay, because he said, among friends, I was the leader. If I approved something, means it was good. So he wanted that I come and meet Guru Maharaj and approve of it. So in between the street, they were pushing and pulling each other. Abhay was saying, no, I don't want to come. He was saying, come. So all the people were watching what these young boys are doing here, fighting in between the street. So finally, Prabhupada relented. He said, okay, let's see. So he goes there and they climb on the first floor upstairs on the terrace, just like we see in the photo. And as soon as Prabhupada sees sannyasi, he goes down, Dandavata Pranam. So this is the culture which was taught. As soon as you see a sannyasi, you should do Dandavata. Dandavata means, Danda means a stick, falling like a stick. If you give a stick and just leave it, how it will fall? Similarly, in front of a guru, we fall like that. So Prabhupada bowed down, and as soon as he just got up, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur looked at him and made a statement. He said, you are a learned young man. You should preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English language. So Prabhupada was in one sense taken aback. He said, this is our first meeting. We are not only introduced to each other. And first statement is giving an instruction. So you don't give instructions immediately. First of all, ask him how you come, what's your name, and all these things. Prabhupada said, I was taken aback that he is immediately instructing me. And Prabhupada, he also spoke back. He said, who will accept our instructions? Our message will not be accepted by anyone because we are not yet independent. So first we should become independent and then we'll preach. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, this transcendental message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an urgency. It cannot wait for any political change. It should be taken immediately. So Prabhupada was very spiritually advanced. So he understood. He said, first time I accepted defeat. And I didn't speak further. And I was convinced that the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the right hands. So Prabhupada was impressed with the first visit itself. He understood that this is a real, genuine sadhu. And from that time, in my heart, I accepted him as my guru. So these are the real eternal relationships actually. And when he met his guru, he understood that from that time I started following him. Although Prabhupada took initiation much later, almost 11 years later after this meeting, but he started following him. So this was the first meeting of Prabhupada and his guru. And he got his instruction that we should preach. Then Prabhupada started contributing in the Gaudiya Math. Wherever he would meet his God brothers, he would give them some contribution. He would actually participate in the programs. Also, he would go with them and preach to others. So Prabhupada was already a very scholarly person. He had read so many books, especially of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And he knew that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme personality of God. So he took this up very quickly. And he was so expert that sometimes he would take the sannyasis with him or brahmacharis. And he would give lecture and he would make them sit on the Vyasasana. And he was good in giving lectures, but he didn't want that he sits on the Vyasasana. So he would make brahmachari sit on the Vyasasana and he would speak. And in this way he would preach. So in Bombay, Gaudiya, Allahabad, Calcutta, everybody started participating. So Prabhupada had his business in Allahabad. He had opened a small manufacturing unit of balms and other things, medicinal. So in this way only. So once one devotee, he came to Prabhupada and his head was down. He said, Prabhupada, I have been called to the court. Now that time hippies, they were dealing in drugs. Right? He said, Prabhupada, I have been called to the court. So then what happened? Now I will be arrested. Maybe I will be put in jail. Prabhupada said, it's not bad. Even Krishna was put in jail. You are born in jail. Going to jail is not bad. Don't worry. Then what happened? Why are they punishing you? And I was dealing in drugs. That also not bad. I also was dealing in drugs. So that drug is different and this drug is different. And just in a lighter note, Prabhupada was dealing in drugs, medicines. So in this way, Prabhupada was contributing. And Prabhupada, then he went to a Vrindavan Yatra, then Guru Maharaj had arranged. And in that Yatra, his Guru was giving lectures. And the lectures of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur were very high-fi, really deep. And most of them would not be able to understand them. And he would speak in his philosophy was very deep. So many would sit and some of them would doze off, some would get distracted. As usual, it is the case, the mind for them to be concentrated is not easy. So on the last day of the yatra, one of the devotees stood up and he said, today is the last day and one temple visit is remaining, Adokshaja Vishnu. So there is an option. Those who want to sit and hear the lecture may continue hearing, and those who want to go and take darshan can go for darshan. So as the announcement was done, 95% of people stood up. Let's go for darshan, Adokshaja Vishnu. And Prabhupada remained sitting. He sat down and few other disciples, very senior disciples were sitting. So Prabhupada thought, he shares his mind, he is saying, what will I see with these eyes of flesh and blood? At least let me sit here and hear from my Gurudev. And this hearing will be transcendental. So this is the understanding of Prabhupada. And this is the teachings of our Vaishnava tradition. And if you want to see Krishna, we cannot see Krishna with our eyes. Do we have any capacity in these eyes? We hardly have any capacity. So, if you want to see Krishna, who is spiritual, completely spiritual, we also require spiritual eyes. Just like in the Brahma Samhita it said, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridesha Vilokyanti Yam Sham Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Bhajaya. It said that Krishna, who is Achintya Guna, is inconceivable, and his Swarupa is Sachidananda. So these eyes, with the normal condition, cannot see Krishna. But when they are anointed with Premanjana, with the salve of prem, love, that time we can see Krishna. So Prabhupada was thinking like that. Let me hear from my Gurudev. Then I will be able to see Krishna. So seeing Krishna, more than seeing Krishna, what is important? Hearing about Krishna. Especially from such exalted people, exalted devotees. So Prabhupada remained sitting, and that time Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he noted him. So that is how he pleased the heart of his Gurudev. If we want to please our spiritual master, then we should show eagerness to know more about Krishna. We should show eagerness to hear more about Krishna. Rather, one of the great acharyas in our line, the founder of our ISKCON movement, Rupa Goswami, he says that Lolyam Ekmatra Moolam. He says there is only one price to pay for Krishna. Koti Sukriti na labhyate. Even if you do Koti Janma Sukriti, many lifetime we keep on doing pious activities, still Krishna cannot be achieved. But if you have that Lolyam is what? Greed. If you are greed to achieve Krishna, then we can get Krishna. Otherwise we cannot achieve Krishna. There is just a story to add. Once one great personality, one katha was going on, Bhagavad Katha. In that Bhagavad Katha, the Kathakar started describing Krishna, Bala Gopal form. Yashoda Mata, she decorates Krishna with so many ornaments, beautiful earrings, and armlets, and bangles, and pile. So all these decorations and beautiful diamonds are there. So among the audience there was one thief who was sitting there. He thought, oh, such a nice person to rob. If I can find this Krishna once and I rob him, I will become very rich. So after the katha, everyone went away. This person came and he asked him, where can I find Krishna? He was really serious. And the Kathakar thought that, okay, he's asking a good question, he can answer. You can find him in Vrindavan. You go to Vrindavan and find Krishna. So he got the address. So he immediately went, because there were no trains, so went walking. He started asking where is Vrindavan, and finally reached Vrindavan. And there in Vrindavan he started asking everyone, where can I find Krishna, where can I find Krishna? So all the devotees there, he stays here only. One said no, because actually he stays in Vrindavan. He said, on the sadhus no, sometimes he comes, so they start giving Nitya Leela, he comes to play here. So he sat there, waiting and waiting and waiting. Just waiting that when Krishna comes, I will catch him. And Krishna, he understood his heart. And he is so eager for me. He came all the way and he is asking everyone and now is waiting for me. So when someone waits for Krishna with such eagerness, so Krishna appears. So Krishna came there. And as soon as he saw Krishna, he understood this is Krishna. So Krishna, he caught his hand, Krishna's hand. And Krishna had crying, he said, why are you catching me? And just by the touch of Krishna, all the material desires of this thief were washed away. So he was not confused. He said, I wanted your ornaments. He said, no, my mother is scolded me. Don't take my ornaments. So then he became so charmed by Krishna's beauty, he forgot about the ornaments. And he became a great devotee. So in this way, when a person is very eager, especially to hear about Krishna and to find Krishna, then Krishna can be got. Otherwise, doing so much of other things will not be Krishna. So Prabhupada, by his example he taught, he said that going around everywhere, seeing, taking darshans, not will like it. Better let me hear from my Guru. And his Gurudev was very pleased with this. How we come to know? After some time, when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur visited Allahabad, in Allahabad, what happened? Initiation ceremony was about to take place. This was in 1932, something around that time. So the temple president there, he was introducing many others that he wanted to take initiation, and he was introducing them, giving their qualification. Why Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur should give them initiation. So when Prabhupada stood up, the temple president started introducing. He is Abhay Babu. He is very sincere, and he was about to speak about him, that how sincere he is, how much he gives contribution, this and that. So even before his speaking, He said, I have already noted this for him. I will give you initiation. He likes to hear. So what is Guru said? He likes to hear. I will give him initiation. So even there was no introduction required for by the president. So this is how we should be eager to hear. We should be eager to know more. We should be eager to read more books. We should be eager to chant more. The more eagerness we have, we should understand that I am advancing. How to know I am advancing or not? At least in material world we get certificates. 6th pass हो गया, 7th pass हो गया, 8th pass हो गया. But in spiritual life, who will give certificate? Neither any one of us will give, or Krishna will not comment anything. But how is the certificate got? Our taste for hearing and chanting increases. Our material desires decrease. This is the meter of the gauge. So Prabhupada initiation, and after taking initiation, on one of the years when Vyas Puja was about to take place of Bhakti. So everyone was giving some gifts, some were giving some poems. So Prabhupada also wrote a poem. You can find the complete poem on the net. But there is one or two of the lines, especially the last line. No, the first line. Absolute is ancient, thou hast ruled. Impersonal calamity, thou hast removed. So this stanza caught the attention of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he was so happy with this. And whoever would come to meet him, he would read this and show him. See, my disciple has understood my heart. He has understood my mission. And he would read this and show him. He was so happy. And then he said, Abhay Babu, who has written this book, he has written this poem, he, whatever he writes, print it. No need of editing and no need of checking. Because he has understood my heart, so whatever he writes will be proper. There will be no mistake in this. So in this way, from that time, they started calling Prabhupada, they gave a title Kavi, the poet. So Prabhupada has written few poems, at least 2 poems are very famous, which we know. And someday we should sing that. Very beautiful poems Prabhupada has written. So in this way, Prabhupada showed that he understood the heart of his Gurudev. And he didn't meet his Gurudev many times, like many other of them. Many of them have spent many days with him. But Prabhupada met his spiritual master maybe a few times, 3-4 times, very personal speaking. Otherwise he might have taken darshan many times. But personally he spoke to him 3-4 times. And one of them he remembers. He remembers all of them. And first was the instruction which he got in on the first day. Then once in Vrindavan he met him on the banks of Radha Kund. And that time his spiritual master told him, he said, I am not happy with the marble temples. There was some issue going on, people becoming attached to rooms and other things. He said, I am not happy with big temples, but I am more pleased by printing books. And he told Prabhupada, he said, in future, whenever you get money, you print books. And he said that if my desire actually, if possible, I will tear down all the marbles of a temple. I will sell them and with that money I would like to print books. So that instance, Prabhupada understood how dear is book distribution to his spiritual master. Prabhupada says, I like building temples, but my Guru Maharaj likes book distribution. That's why he says, I always keep telling books. I am so fanatic about books. So that is what my spiritual master wants. So Prabhupada spent most of his, put a lot of his energy in books. He personally spent nights, many hours of nights just for translating books. Then he established a BBT to print books. and he sent all his devotees every day go and distribute books. So if we want to please Prabhupada, what we should do? Distribute books. So all of you all, if you want to please Prabhupada, you also should try to distribute books. Now in few months, month of December will come. So there is a book which is month dedicated for book distribution. Actually, it is not about that month only. We can distribute any time, but at least we should do it on that month. And I request all of you to put your energy in distributing books, because actually books make a difference. And those who read Prabhupada's book, they become devotees. You just see by doing it. So in this way, and even on the last day when his spiritual master was about to leave the world, Prabhupada wrote a letter to his spiritual master. He said, if there is any service which I can do, please tell me. So he got a reply. Even when his spiritual master was so sick, still he replied to him and he said, you should go to Western countries and preach. So in this way, print books, preach in English language, preach in Western countries. So all these instructions were life and soul of Prabhupada. So in 1936, his spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he left for the spiritual world. And Prabhupada, in the separation of his spiritual master, he would always think about preaching. And while he was reading the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, commentary on Bhagavad Gita, he came across this sloka. This sloka is Vyavasayata Prabuddhi Rekeha Purnandana 2.41. And the translation, the explanation of that is, you just read it. It points out that the order of the spiritual master is the life substance of the disciple. The disciple should not consider whether he is going back home, back to Godhead. His first business should be to execute the order of his spiritual master. Thus, a disciple should always meditate on the order of the spiritual master, and that is perfectional meditation. Not only should he meditate upon the order, but he should find out the means by which he can perfectly worship and execute it. So this was a turning point, Prabhupada says, in his life. He had already got instructions, and he was thinking that one day I will become a successful businessman. I'll earn money, and with that money I will spread Krishna consciousness. But now he understood that in whatever means I have, I should dedicate my life to spreading this message. So here it is clearly said, what is the best meditation? Not meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the highest, no doubt. But right now, the best is on the order of the spiritual master. We all should have goal in life. Some have the goal to become rich, some have goal to go to America, some have goal to become the best in business, some have goal to become famous. So all these goals are there. These are all material goals. They are not going to, rather than getting us free from this material world, they are going to make us more entangled. But this meditation, that what is the mission of Prabhupada, what is the mission of my spiritual master, that mission should be my life. And further it says, not just meditating on it, but finding the ways and means how to execute it. Prabhupada always said, you should tax your brain. You don't have to be nice, lazy, without responsibility. I should have a cool life. No botheration. Let I be happy, my family be happy, and everything is secure. It's a good life, right? Very nice life. It's got a cozy life. And most of them are thinking about this. Let me be secure, happy and cozy. But that is not the way spiritual life works. Prabhupada would say, you should take more anxiety than others. But that anxiety should be for Krishna. The spiritual world is not a cozy life. Rather, Yashoda Mata is taking anxiety many more times than any one of you can think. Whole day, as soon as Krishna leaves the house, Mother Yashoda is in anxiety. Will Krishna be heard? Krishna is so naughty. He will go and play with monkeys. Monkeys will bite him. The cows are there. They are so big. They may step on Krishna. He may fall from a tree. And he may get injured. So all whole day Krishna Mata from morning till evening she is anxious. And when Krishna comes, he is relieved. So in this way, the spiritual life is full of anxiety. But that anxiety is actually ecstasy. It is not a anxiety like we get here. It is the greatest happiness actually. So here he is saying that it is a perfectional meditation. Perfection of meditation. So Prabhupada, what he did, he started immediately started translating books. He started translating new purports on Bhagavad Gita. He started a magazine, Back to Godhead. Before starting a magazine, he started printing it on papers, to articles. Whatever was relevant, he would write an article and he would start. And he himself would print, he would spend for it, he would become the editor, he was a distributor also. He would go out and give it out. He would go in different stalls, tea stalls. So if you want in detail, we have books which give the details of how Prabhupada took so much anxiety. There are instances when he had heat strokes. Once a bull came and attacked him. And that time when his age was more, others were thinking, why are you taking so much trouble? You should sit in one place and do your bhajan. So even at that advanced age, he took all this risk. He said, you cannot sit peacefully without trying for executing what his spiritual master told. And then Prabhupada, he took Manprasad. After when he was the age of 56, he took Manprasad and then he went to Jhansi. And in Jhansi for some time there was some activity, but he had to leave that place and he came back to Vrindavan. And one of them, when he was in Vrindavan, one person he met Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, what will this one article do? How it will help? He will read and throw it out. If you want to do something, you should write a book. That will be more lasting. The Prabhupada immediately took this as an indication from his own spiritual master. He said, yes, my Guru Maharaj is speaking through his mouth. And he started endeavoring that direction. And he took up a big project of translating Srimad Bhagavatam. 60 volumes. At the age of maybe 65 or 64, he started that project. And he would always go and tell that I want some sponsorship for this big project. Someone would think, at this old age, how will you complete it? So someone told you should go to Harman Prasad Porter. There he is very interested in this. So Prabhupada took the manuscript. He had very limited money. From Vrindavan he had to go to Gorakhpur. So he had only money to buy the tickets. That either I spend all my money, and if he doesn't give donation, then I have to lose everything. And if he gives donation, it's well and good. So he took the risk. He said, Krishna will take care. He went there, he presented all his manuscripts, and he was very impressed. He said, this is a very scholarly work. I will surely sponsor. So one volume was sponsored. Then after doing this, in detail you will find this is actually a small version, there is another big version of Prabhupada Vilambat. In detail you will find that how Prabhupada later on he himself distributed them to all the libraries of India. He took autograph from the current Prime Minister there, and then he took some good reviews from so many people. In this way he himself was doing all this. And even printing, he would walk rather than spending on tanga. He would skip breakfasts to save money, and he would personally sit at the printer's place so that they don't neglect his work. So he was doing it all personally with so much of hard work. Then he got second sponsor from Sumati Murarji. She was from Bombay. And someone told her that she has a shipping company. So Prabhupada was very eager to go to Western countries. He was always speaking to everyone that I want to go to US. I want to go to US. Because at that time US was the most advanced country. It had more tech and London. So everyone was thinking, what will you do going there? So one person said, he thought it's not a serious thing. He said, my son is there, his name is Gopal. I'll ask him to sponsor. He will write a letter. So someone should write a letter from there so that you get a visa. And when he comes, I will take care. So and this person forward, he thought that he's just saying, how will you arrange? So he said, yes, please arrange for it. So he got that letter, he took the letter and he got a P form, he got a visa, everything is ready. But now how will he get money to go to US? Now it will cost lakhs of rupees. But that time he didn't have money. So he went to Sumati Murarji and started telling her, please, you give me some place to sit in your ships keep going. Let me give some pass. He was saying, how will you go? I don't mind giving you, no doubt, but you are 70 years old. US is so cold. It's a foreign country. You will not even get something to eat there. You don't know anyone. You will simply die. So Sumati Murarji was convinced that if I let Prabhupada go there, then rather than helping him, what I am doing, rather he will die. She was so convinced. I said, no, you don't know. I have to go there. So you would sit at the doorsteps of Sumati Murarji. And she would go out, you will see, such a great beggar, actually. You see, so many people go and beg. They go and beg for, give me some job, give me some this, give me some that. So we all, somehow others, don't mind begging for ourselves. But what need Prabhupada had to beg for himself? Prabhupada was already a Nitya Siddha. He would have sat at Vrindavan and just peacefully left his life and gone back to Godhead. But Prabhupada is giving up all this. He gave up Vrindavan, he gave up all this peace of mind. And just to establish Krishna's mission, he would go and beg empty, back to businessman. And when he saw that he is so eager, he said, okay, I'll give you return ticket, just go there and try. If you don't get, come back again. And ships keep coming. She thought that maybe you just go and come back. So Prabhupada was so happy. He planned everything. He said he took a lot of books, whatever books he had already printed 3 volumes of Bhagavatam. I think he took 50 copies in a suitcase. That was the main luggage he had. Once one of his God was asked him, we heard that you are going to USA. Prabhupada said, I am not going. Bhagavatam is going, I am just going as a servant. In this way, he prepared his journey, and from Calcutta he boarded, and from there he went all the way to Mumbai. And in between, he had so much of anxiety, seasickness, heart attacks, and it was 30 days journey in the rough weather. So he endured that. He went to USA. There also, of course, Gopal received him. He stayed for 1 month there. But he saw that 1 month here, I am not able to preach. So he left the secure house of Gopal. He said, I want to go to New York. Without knowing anyone, Gopal went to New York. First he got some contact of Mishra. And in Mishra's place also he was not able to preach. So he went to, on his own, he went to a kind of slum area. And there, by taking so much of risk, he started the ISKCON movement. It is a great 1 year struggle story from the beginning of 1965 to 66. In the year of 66, in the middle, maybe June, Prabhupada he established ISKCON, and then few disciples started coming, and from few he started growing by the purity and the faith of Prabhupada in the Holy Name. And then the whole movement it stood up from America, and Prabhupada didn't stop there. And yes, now I have started a center. His desire to serve Krishna so much, he was not happy with one center. He had so many disciples, and he personally traveled the globe for 14 times at that age. Prabhupada said, I have so many centers, I have so many disciples, I have personal groups for me, but at no place Prabhupada stayed for more than 3 days. He would come, he would preach, give lectures, at night translate, then next after 2-3 days he would leave for the next center. And the next, like a great general, say a king, if he just says that my commanders go and do everything, he will lose. So like a great general, Prabhupada traveled everywhere. And even to extent he went to Russia also. That was behind the iron curtain, called iron curtain. No religion could be preached there. It was a communist country. Prabhupada went there, made one disciple. He empowered him so much that one disciple made so many followers. And now Russia is growing like anything, Ukraine and all this. So in this way, Prabhupada established in all the continents, except Antarctica or Antarctica, where no one stays. It is not. So this is the life of Prabhupada, and we know some success stories. But before that, why Prabhupada did it and how he did it, all this is given in this book. Prabhupada Lilamrit. This is a very summary version actually, a small version, and in this way Satsvarup Maharaj has written 7-volume set. And to tell you the fact, reading Prabhupada Lilamrit is as good as reading Bhagavatam, because life of Bhagavad, those who follow Bhagavad in their life, they also teach Bhagavatam by their example. So, and reading this is more inspiring than any other book. The determination, the purity, the focus, the desire, and the sacrifice, all qualities will be shown in their glory. So it is said that Vaishnavas have 26 qualities. All 26 qualities you will be able to see in this book, Prabhupada. So I request all of you all to please, we have only few copies here. So actually, to tell you the fact, Prabhupada never glorified himself. Rather, he glorified only Krishna. Everyone, he made ISKCON famous, he made Krishna famous. But no one knows who is Prabhupada. So it is our duty to spread Prabhupada's name. It is said that if someone says that I can repay my spiritual master's debt, then even the inanimate things of this world laugh at it. So we can never repay the sacrifice of a spiritual master. So at least let's do one thing. If you are not read, you will read this Prabhupada Lilamrit, and even if we have, let's gift it to someone. And others also know. So we should actually make Prabhupada famous. And it's really a very beautiful book. And if someone starts reading, I'm sure we will not be able to keep it down. So it is just 180 rupees, one book. And I hope all of you will buy it. So, thank you very much. So English, Hindi, Marathi are there. Three languages. Anyone has any question? Ask anything. the highlight of Prabhupada's life. I hope all of you are Bible, so I don't need to